yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, UNTD? Welcome back to the AJC. It is match day, and as you can see, it's time to spank Salernitana again, all right? And yes, there's a lot to tackle in the news, some stuff that even came up yesterday, hours after my daily update video, okay? And then we get the news of Federico Chiesa, and this has opinions shifting as we've been talking about his extension for quite some time. Then we got some news about the Mercado and Giallo apparently team terms agreed with Lille. Now we're waiting for this player to make his decision as well. You've got Buongiorno in the background. You've got Samardzic, some more rumors continuing there about trying to push some for the summer. We got a lot to talk about, all right? And I'm happy I got my man Omer with me here. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm fantastic. All great. Happy to be here. Still high on the 6-1 from a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah.
So let's rock. Let's make it 12.
There you go. There you go. Say what's up to everybody in the chat here. All right. Alex P, Dom, James LaPierre, Tony Trim, Vincenzo, you guys, awesome. Drop a like while you're in here, okay? And we got a lot of big stuff coming up. So yesterday I showed the 3 kits were given away, okay? And they were all classics. The 84 Ariston, the 15-16 away pink. We've got the 95-96 iconic blue, okay? So the retro replicas, those are the next 3 going out to a lucky subscriber. I'll have details on how you can win it in the coming week, okay? How you guys can win one of those. So good luck to everybody, and definitely stay tuned. I think as far as kits go, that's number 30, 31, and 32 that we have given away. And then later on today, I'm going to randomize the draw for which official fan club in North America will be getting the signed 84 Ariston by Bettega, and then on the back the current team. So a lot of great stuff here, and just always a thank you for your continued support, everybody. So we always appreciate it. Now the business at hand, Omer, that 6-1 game we have to take into account. Obviously Salernitana, as Ant said, their H side, as they essentially trying to beat relegation is the most important thing for them. Max Allegri even stated that in his press conference. We will see a different lineup for them, and I expect a different game today, okay? But as far as the lineup goes, we do have to start off talking about some of the news, because Federico Chiesa out again, contusion, issue there. It's like a contusion / sprain. The knee is swollen up. They've done tests. It's nothing further or anything, and he's gonna have to be monitored. But it is yet another setback. Literally yesterday, I put out the daily update news. We finally got, even though it's Corriere dello Sport, some news about him being renewed to 2028. It's the first time we've actually heard a longer term one come out recently, albeit not the most credible source, but it was getting many fans excited. And then all of a sudden, it's like 2 hours later, you get the news that he's out for this game, and it just brings up those concerns all over again. I want to hear from you, kind of your thoughts on Federico Chiesa, and maybe not going to 2028 and maybe doing some short term, or maybe even looking to cash in.
No, I wouldn't want to cash in on Federico. I think I love him. Okay, maybe it's my personal bias towards him, but I do love him. I think he's a phenomenal player. There were some talks about his game time, but apparently I think he's the 7th player that played the most this season. Certainly the most out of all the attackers. Like the rest are defenders and midfielders. But yeah, I want that extension. I think it's important to invest in these type of players. He's already in the system, is integrated. I wouldn't cancel out like a huge bid, an astronomical, but so far the numbers we heard were like 40, 50, I think 60 was the max. And that's just, I don't know, that's insulting to say the least for a player of his caliber. So extension, yeah, 28, 29, whatever. Just keep him in Turin. I love the guy. Sorry, it's my personal bias, and I think it's good for Juve. Whoever the
Yeah.
coach, this just one of those special players that you want around, and he's definitely one of them.
Yeah. I mean, I love the guy. I do say this, and I said it on the last show. Like for me, you kind of have to extend him. He is one of the few I would consider world class at our club. And if he does go, I just don't want to see patchwork. Like I need to see a name that gets me excited, has me there, and excited about what this player could bring. I don't want to see like Chiesa sold and then an average player come in and more average players spread out across the team. I need to see somebody that's considered world class or at least close to it. Because if you don't consider Chiesa world class, he's got to be very, very close to it. But for me, the concerns are there. The concerns are there with the constant stoppages, the times before that where he was getting ruled out as injured and they were running tests and couldn't find anything. It's a bit of a concern, but at this moment in time, an extension. Do you go as far to 2028 when something like this happens immediately? Another stoppage, a couple within a matter of weeks. Maybe you just keep it a little bit closer to 2026. Maybe that is the best call. I don't know. But here's the kicker. If you go to 2028, if we keep the salary down to close to where it is right now, then it's not so bad. Then it's not so bad. At least you're not going, if you go massive on the salary and push to 2028, then those injury concerns start to kind of outweigh that, right? But if we keep the salary down and go there, then we're okay. We're in the clear.
I don't feel like it's a concern. Not for me anyway. I mean, this early, because these type of players, those explosive ones, those wingers who sprint and cover tons of grass, the those guys tend to get injured more because they get tackled more, and it's not like other positions. So it doesn't feel like he was injured more than other players. I mean, Vlahovic missed more games than him through injury this season, last season. He's not the most injured player we have, and coming back from an ACL, I mean, it doesn't feel like he's an injury-prone player to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
But here's the thing, too, though. It's like, it doesn't get, while we hear about, rest and ACL injury returns and all this, it's like, it doesn't get any easier than a one match a week season.
But it's not a one match a week now because we had two.
He
We
did,
have
he,
four.
he
Like
played, how many minutes did he play against Salernitana's like Seaside? Not much.
he was like 60, I believe, the 60,
Close to
60
60
something.
minutes. Okay.
Yeah, but he
But
got
like,
injured in training. That's a contusion. That's not like muscle stuff. I don't know. I don't feel like he's really injury prone.
yeah, because the training's not going to stop whether you're playing one game a week or two. So even the fact and I get it, maybe unfortunate event and knock there, whatever. It's just, it's there, man. It's there. I understand it. We all love Federico Chiesa. There was a situation brought up online and said and it was used to defend Federico Chiesa in this instance, saying I would love to see people's opinion and how Twitter would have reacted back when Del Piero was trying to come back and struggled through his return, and you would have all been saying sell Del Piero. Well, the funny thing was the team actually considered selling Del Piero, so it wouldn't have been out of the norm to expect something like that in this scenario. The team literally was looking at moving him. The thing that probably saved Del Piero at Juventus was the fact that Zidane's wife wanted out so damn bad that she wanted nothing but Spain, and they ended up making a hell of a deal there for Zidane. But make no
Yeah, that
mistake
was a
about it.
world record deal.
Yeah, and make no mistake about it. They were looking at moving Del Piero. So I found it kind of funny that it's used to defend Federico Chiesa. It's always been a business, and it is a business,
Yeah,
and there's risk assessment involved. But I
and
did
that's
find
another
that kind of
aspect.
humorous. But yeah,
That's another aspect. I don't know Giuntoli and the way he works well enough because I don't want to compare like his work at Napoli to his work at Juve. I don't know how the guy operates. At Napoli, he used to sell players for big money and then bring in some unknowns, and they will become better players. But he wasn't the type of guy to buy world class names. I don't think Juve is that anymore. They were.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of it, but either way, it's too early. Extend him by at least 1 year and then see how things pan out and make a decision. I feel it's a bit too early to make a judgment call on his future.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'm fine with it either way. But if we go long term and the money goes up, it's a little. It could be a little bit risky with the injuries. I want to see him get that continuity and go. It was no different than when Vlahovic and him both got interrupted early in the year. Like even Vlahovic, like now he's found some rhythm at least as far as availability goes. But at the start of the year, he's like at 116 days missed at a short period of a short stint so far at Juventus. So it's something to keep an eye out for. And everybody was still hearing about the Pubalcia and everything like that. Well, whatever. At least now it's kind of behind. We just got to get these guys rolling one way or another whenever they are available, making the most of your minutes. Making the most of your minutes is something that's come up with these young guys a lot. Illing Jr. took some flack for his showing with the Coppa Italia match against Salernitana. And again, it's used to say, well, he hasn't been playing and we got to protect him. And here's the thing. Do we really have to go that far? Is it that crazy to just say he should have had more say in that match against not only the last place team in the league, but their reserves? I don't really think so. Here's the difference. Yildiz didn't really see much of anything before he kind of took matters into his own hands with Frosinone, and then of course against Salernitana in the Coppa Italia. Nonje looked fantastic in his little cameo against the Salernitana Seasides and whatnot. I expect you to show something more. I don't really know what's going on with Illing Jr., but Yildiz, we're going to see Yildiz again today, and that at least has me excited because it shows me that we have in fact solidified he will be the change-up to Federico Chiesa, which is what I said needs to be the bare minimum before we even look at can we get all three of these guys at the same time. The bare minimum was no more two strikers playing up top. Switch Chiesa with Yildiz. So at least I'm very, very happy about that much. Omar, agree?
Oh yeah, 100%. Literally
Yeah.
nothing to add. I mean, yeah, as far as Illing Jr. goes, yeah, maybe it's just a bad day. It happens. You have bad games sometimes, and yes, you haven't played in a long while. I guess he'll get some minutes today, but not from the get go. But I wouldn't read too much into it. Just it wasn't on the level with everyone else. But you have those days, so too early for
All
me.
right. It's all good. It's all good. Thiago Jallo. Terms agreed apparently with Lille, waiting for the player to make his move if he wants to wait until the summer to go to Inter. But apparently there's some issues there between Lille and the player deciding to wait and leave on a free and taking Juve's offer currently. Ranocchia, apparently the deal will be finalized. The interesting background story, part of all these moves in the winter mercado is Di Marzio literally being the only one that is reported. We have a 20 or I can't even remember the percent he said a
It was
sell-on fee
20%.
coming. 20%?
20%. Yeah.
Wild. I literally talked to
Yeah.
Mirko Di Natale like an hour and a half before Di Marzio reported that. And I said, "Hey, Mirko, I need your help with something. I can't find anything on a sell-on clause. I just want to make sure I'm right in saying there is none because I can never see any." And Mirko says, "Yeah, we're not getting anything out of the Dragusin deal." Literally an hour and a half later, Di Marzio comes out and says, "Yeah, they're waiting for 20% of the Dragusin deal." I went back. I looked at everything reported. I could not find anyone when that deal went down with Dragusin to Genoa, whatnot, that said anything about selling clause. So maybe it's something that nobody knew about. Who knows? Di Marzio has been pretty bang on as of late when it comes to Juventus, which is a shift as a couple of years coming into it. But maybe, just maybe, and hey, I'll take it. I'll gladly take 20% of any of his moves there. But I couldn't see anything. It's a little bit of a strange one there. But Ranocchia being moved, that's a player I thought might be able to do something, have some kind of say later on, but is a brutal loan for him right now at Empoli. He's only got about 8 appearances. It's not going well, so it looks like Juve's ready to cut the cord there. I'm fine with it. But Thiago Giallo, I know, coming back. Speaking of knees, you're talking about Chiesa. Now we get into Giallo. Hasn't played since March. Just resumed full training again. But this is still low risk, even if you consider that, if it's a €3 million deal. And I have no problems with it. We're talking center back coverage. We're talking left back, right back coverage. And you really don't lose much in taking that shot. I'm fine with it. Omer, what are your thoughts here?
I gotta say, I don't know the player enough. I haven't watched him play. I don't know what his abilities and what he's like. He's injured yet. Low risk, definitely 3 million already covered by selling Ranocchia to Palermo. Lille are obviously pushing because they prefer to get 3 million than he'll leave for free.
Exactly.
Um, Sounds like a good deal that keeps him away from Inter. And it doesn't feel. I don't know. Something is weird about it. The center back situation at Juve, because who is he replacing? I mean, it's not Danilo, it's not Bremer, it's not Gatti. So he knows when he comes to Juve, he has to bide his time and wait for his opportunities. Rugani is here to stay. Sandro is leaving. Huijsen, loaned out, will come back. So we'll have like, I don't know, 6 center backs going into next season. So if I was him, I would look at it this way: would I get some playing time? Because he's not at like a next gen level, and you can move him, back down and then promote him again. He might have a bit more chances at Inter. That's why he's taking his time because Cherby is old and stuff. I don't know. It kind of feels weird from his perspective, but from Juve's perspective, it kind of makes sense. And there was also another name thrown in, Nordi Mukiele from Paris Saint-Germain. He doesn't get to play a lot. He was at Leipzig. I actually really liked him. I wanted Juve to go for him. So if he's another name thrown into the mix and someone Juve is looking at, and that's same type of player, very physical, tall, can play right back or center back. I don't know what Juve are planning for the defense, but something's got to give. Someone will have to move out, except for Sandro. I don't see them holding on to everyone. On the other
Yeah.
hand, it's Champions League season. Maybe things will be different.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we'll wait and see.
the Jalo one for me, it's like you've got Sandro leaving. You've got more coverage than Sandro with his ability to play also on the right side. So it's just a utility that is super cheap, but could have big upside if he hits the strides he did with Lille while he was playing, which was being very crucial for them as a player. So it's an interesting one. I have absolutely no problems with it. At €3 million, what are you gonna get out there? Like, what
Oh
on
yeah,
earth are you gonna get for
that's a
three?
no-brainer.
Yeah,
For that
like
amount, no-brainer. Even if he's not good enough yet, sell
yeah.
him on, loan him out, whatever. Low risk.
Yeah. Huijsen, interesting one here as we saw him unveiled for Roma with this loan move and Jose Mourinho saying some, big words from Mourinho. They've given him the number 3, all right? And some fans getting a little concerned saying, that could be enough. So, because even if we're looking at Huijsen, would you expect Huijsen to be integrated into the first team at Juventus next season?
No, it's hard to say it. It's hard yet, like to predict. He'll get enough playing time next season, so maybe a loan is good for him. He's definitely not getting minutes this season, so
Yeah.
wherever he plays, I mean, I actually prefer the Roma alternative to Frosinone
Yeah.
because they have more matches. They're in Europe. They are no threat to us. I mean, it's not a direct rival for whatever we're going for. Scudetto, second place, Champions League spot. It doesn't feel like Roma threaten us. And yeah, being coached under Mourinho is kind of similar to Allegri. So if Allegri stays, I believe it's a good move for him, better than Frosinone.
Yeah, and with the Huijsen one, what's interesting because I agree with you. I don't see him integrate into the first team next season either. But there are some fans that are saying this could be concerning as far as the player's will and maybe him eventually wanting to stay or remain at Roma and look for a move if they're giving him the number 3 and they've integrated him immediately or anything. Do you have any fears of that happening?
I wouldn't call it a fear, but we've talked about it a million times. I mean, we can't keep everyone.
Yeah.
Someone, has to be sold and generate money. The good thing is the ball is in our hands. I mean, we're the ones. There are no secret clauses in the transfer. It's a dry loan, and if we decide to sell, there aren't anything that Roma can do, and we name the price. So they can control the transfer if they want to. It's in our hands, so I'm not worried. And we need him to get some playing time, and yeah, it's better than next gen for me.
Yeah, it is better. I mean, there's certain players when you watch them, they're ahead of next gen, and we've said that with quite a few of our guys. Yildiz was there. Miretti, you can't really get that end game going for us at this level, but he is definitely ahead of next gen. And Huijsen, I think, is kind of right there too. But this is going to be an interesting one to follow. And Mourinho did say, ultimately, it is Juve's player. And you're right. The ball is in our court because if it does end up going that route, Juve maybe then looks to shift things to get him more integrated if it's a matter of keeping him or losing him. So we'll see. The one thing that concerns me probably more than losing him to Roma is that field and him just not blowing out a knee or something. So, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully it's all good. Hopefully it's all good. Now, Buongiorno. Rumors about him, 25 million euros a price tag. This was up about a month ago. It's back up again. We just got to wait and see. There's not really a whole lot there. Samardzic, more rumors that Juve's now trying to set something up for the summer. Again, take everything with a grain of salt. Calvin Phillips, apparently Juve has no intention of bringing him in. I'm happy with that. I think he doesn't push the needle much at all, to be honest. We said this on the last post-match podcast with Lex and Anth. I said, you know what? I'm actually fine if all things remain this season. I think there's a good thing going. I think guys are starting to maybe pick themselves up about contributing, but we've said everybody has bought in, and there can be something said about leaving everything status quo when the vibes are going in the right direction. Momentum seems to be with us. You hear nothing but Inter players just talking, bitching, pissing, moaning about the pressure. They're feeling the pressure. I like where we are at currently, and I'm absolutely fine if all things stay the same. If a player, if an opportunity presented itself for Juventus that actually pushed the needle, I'd be all for it. Omer, are you fine staying as is? And do you think there's still enough to tackle this Scudetto?
Okay, yeah. It kind of feels like it. My feelings have changed since the beginning of the season. So first of all, Buongiorno. I mean, that's another center back name. Feels a bit like clickbait, as Dave mentioned here. So yeah, I'm not buying into it. A lot of names will be thrown around. Um, it feels like we need another player, but everything is going. I mean, they are punching up. So I know I don't want to disturb the balance. I mean, whatever we're doing, it's working. We are getting the wins. We are staying up there and pressing Inter, and it's starting to show from Inter's side. So no, I don't know. It's a tough question. Maybe we're just a bit, just living life and enjoying it and not seeing a real problem that needs to be fixed. But Fajoli is coming back next season. I mean, whoever you bring in has to, get in the mix. It feels like Napoli is a better destination for Samardzic right now because Zielinski is leaving and Anguissa is went away to the AFCON Cup. So I believe he'll choose that. But you are doing the same as the Jallo deal. They're actually, taking the club side. And yeah, Udinese, it's better for you to buy him now, but you can keep him to the rest of the season because you are in relegation battles, and then he moves to Juve, then moving to Napoli right now, which is just the same as the Jallo deal, but in reverse. I don't know if we need someone. I don't know if we can sign someone who can actually change anything, but something is working at Juve, and still same amount of games, nothing has changed, and I'm not worried. I don't know. It feels like you don't want to disturb the balance, but it's a tough
Yeah,
question. I could be dead wrong, and we
I'm not.
definitely need someone.
I'm just not that. I'm not as concerned right now, and I think there's, again, like I said, there's a small tweak that Allegri has hinted at. We could maybe see. He's thrown out these subtle things in interviews, in pressers, that it's down to moments, it's down to players' condition, it's down to form, whether or not we at some point see some type of shift or some type of change. He hasn't shut the door out completely in maybe seeing Yildiz, Chiesa, and Vlahovic in one setup. So, and this notion that Max Allegri will not try it whatsoever, I'm not buying into that. Max has done things like that. He's notorious for doing things like that in certain moments and switching from. I know that over the last couple of years, it hasn't felt that way, but I reminded everybody on last podcast, last year, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 3-5-1-1, 3-5-2, 3-4-3. It was going all over the place in trying to find something. Right now, we do have something that is balanced, and that is, in fact, off of this 3-5-2. The defensive solidity is there. It's just a small tweak, and I think it comes down to needing goals. And what I always said is he may not do it from the start of a game, but I would suspect that at some point this season, we may be needing a goal, and you see Yildiz play with Chiesa and Vlahovic, or maybe Milik. Keane might be heading on loan. Who knows what's going on there? But you might see it in that scenario, and depending on how it plays out, you might see it again, just like we did last season. So, again, we'll see what happens, but I would not be surprised. And I don't buy into the whole notion that he's not ever going to do something like that or try it. I'm just not buying into it. I think it's about moments, like he even says, and there will be a moment that presents itself where we need that, and he'll probably pull the trigger. And I think I could bank on that. Omer, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, Max's history shows that he is changing formations usually mid-game, and when he did that, he used to do that when things weren't clicking, and suddenly, by January, he'd come up with a new idea and change something. But things are working, so do we really need a change just to integrate everyone? Maybe in specific games, don't know when, don't know how, but I'm sure he has something in mind. I'm sure he's not going to bed with, I have my 3-5-2 and I'm not
Yeah.
changing it no matter what happens. That's the job. That's his job. That's the people around him, and that's their job to come up with new ideas and figure out new methods. That's what a coaching team is, coaching staff. So yeah, he's definitely looking at other options, but he usually does that when things don't work, and things are working right now. So I don't see him changing. Maybe some tweaks, when Miretti is on, or having a chance to play Ildiz with Chiesa and Vlahovic. But changing completely to like a 4-3-3 or something, I don't see that happening this season.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I think it's going to be a moment, but I think we will see it. I know that there's talks about Inter. I could see Reno here with these ridiculous words. We can't catch up to Inter. They have all the help with the refs. Listen, don't turn into the same chihuahuas that we always call out that just talk about refs and all this. Yesterday, the scenario, the situation there, okay, it happened, whatever. Don't ever turn into the chihuahuas themselves, okay? Don't do that. Don't do that, Reno. Don't do that. It's going to be all the sweeter when Juve overtakes Inter and gets the job done. Let him have that nonsense. But Omar, in seriousness, did you see the scenario and what were your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, as soon as they equalized, I tuned into the game. I'm not surprised. It happens. I don't want to bitch about it. I don't want to make it. Yeah, that is the reason why Juve are this and that.
Yeah.
Um, it happens. We know Serie A officiating is, just the worst. It's not the worst actually. It's even worse in the EPL and the Liga, but it is bad. And the new rules make it harder for referees to understand what to attribute. I think it's more of a VAR issue than the actual referee issue. And once again, everything will happen the same way it does. I thought actually the Verona penalty was a non-penalty. That was an awful call. That was a really soft call. But yeah, the
Yeah.
goal should have been cancelled. But this is not why Juve would win or not win the Scudetto.
I actually I would go the opposite of anyone out there that is feeling like, "Oh, this is why we can't do it," or what. I would actually I would say no, these are signs like them in a match at home against Verona, which was expected to be a comfortable victory. They're feeling the heat, everybody. Their players have said it. Three of their big players have said it. It's like it's there. It's a thing. Juve capitalizing at the first chance to make it within 2 points. We cannot slip up today. We have to be perfect in every match leading up to the February 4th showdown at the San Siro. But it shows me like they're feeling the heat, okay? Like they struggled to beat Verona. Verona had that penalty at the end, and Dom saying Alberto would have
Yeah.
buried that. I have a fantastic PK record, by the way, my friend. Okay, so yes, I always have confidence in myself. But look, it's there. They're feeling the heat as Champions League. That knockout tie with they have Atletico, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be very very difficult for them. It's just going to ramp up. All right. So for me, there's going to be more slip ups, and we're starting to see the struggles there. They're feeling the heat. They're talking about it. We are sitting pretty. Okay. We are sitting pretty. Top four, okay, that's our objective, and we keep saying that, and all the while we just keep rolling and rolling and rolling along, and they're feeling it, and they're getting pissed off about it, and they're pissed that we just keep saying, hey, we're happy to be here. We only want top four. Meanwhile, they know damn well we can overtake them if they keep slipping. And it's getting tight for them. It's getting tight for them. And I think we're starting to see
Hmm.
them feel that because that Verona game should have been a little bit more comfortable. And I love it. I love that they drew a game that nobody expected to with Genoa. I love the fact that they struggled and needed potentially some assistance with Verona. It's beautiful. We're sitting pretty, everybody. We're sitting pretty. I love it. And Morata, oh my God, come on, Morata kicking them out. Oh yeah, in the form of his life is right. Would be nice. Be nice. We'll see what goes
Yeah.
down. Now, Salernitana. Federico Chiesa obviously out. Yildiz will come in. Cambiaso will be out. Had a fever yesterday. Max Allegri spoke about, so he's going to be out. That one hurts as well. Locatelli facing suspension. There were some fans that said that now I'm concerned about this second match with Salernitana, obviously considering the fact that they had such a big turnover on the lineup card for the Coppa Italia match, and now no Locatelli, now no Chiesa, now no Cambiaso, saying, now all of a sudden I'm a little concerned about going into this game. I'm still not concerned. I'll give you the projected lineup so we could talk about this. Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, Weah, McKennie, Caviglia, Rabiot, Kostic, and Yildiz and Vlahovic. Swarit saying he is a bit worried. I'm not worried. Omer, are you worried?
No, no. I'm not because I think Salernitana are bad or anything. I mean, they did give some tough times to some of the big teams this season, especially Kandreva. But Bremer is back. I mean, we're a couple of levels above. Let's not kid ourselves. This should be a win. Maybe they'll fight harder because they are fighting for relegation. They didn't bank on the Coppa Italia that much, so it's not that bad. But mentality wise, going into a game against the same team that just slapped you 6-1. And even the one goal was through us. I mean, we gave them that goal. So their spirits must be down. Let's see how it pans out, but we definitely have enough talent to win that match.
Yeah, and a mesh
Come,
dropping the Anthony Skanga. They stink
they
emoji
think,
there.
yeah.
Love it. I agree with James, and I've said it even in the post match to the Copa. It's going to be a completely different game. Okay, I'm not worried though. Okay, definitely not worried about it. Kandreva might score just because he always scores against the bigger clubs. Like maybe he bags one. Okay, as Mark says, we will not concede today. I hope not, okay, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kandreva finds one. Ultimately, I still think we find the victory in this game. I'm always very, very optimistic on game days. You guys all know that, all right? But as far as Salernitana goes, man, they're feeling the heat, and they probably would have done anything to not have to do a back-to-back. But Inzaghi just essentially bailed out on Coppa Italia to have his guys rested and getting in here. He's going to give it a go. If he goes 4-2-3-1 again, I again like how that plays out for our players, especially a guy like Kenan Yildiz. That is a good changeup to Federico Chiesa. Timothy Weah. I'm having eyes on him. I think, that goal could go a long way for him personally and his confidence, because we know, and I think we can all agree, the way that you see in the preseason versus what you've been seeing during the minutes that count is not the same player. Hopefully that goal gives him that spark and that boost to get going. He's going to be on the right side next to his brother, McKennie. So let them go. And Weah, I'll have eyes on him. Caviglia, I have absolutely no fears. No fears, no problems with. And I think the last time we saw him, he started to show that little bit of growth, that little bit of comfort, that he's starting to kind of come out of a shell, so to speak. I would expect that to happen in this game as well. Facing the side that he went to loan with last season as well, I look for him to have a very, very strong showing, okay? But Weah today is one player I'll have eyes on next to, of course, Yildiz and also Caviglia. But Rabiot, in these moments, if we ever have doubt about players missing or what we can need, Rabiot needs to be the force he was against Monza. And he needs to kind of be that guy straight across the board in all matches. I will have eyes on Adrian Rabiot. He is a big part of our success. He needs to be a big part of our success moving forward. Those are guys I'm kind of having eyes on in this one. Omar, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I was actually impressed with where in the the minutes he did play this season when he wasn't injured. I was actually impressed with him, not counting preseason, even defensively. But the guy is a live wire, and he has the ability to cause problems. His link up with McKennie is so far has been good, and with Gatti on the right side. Hard to replace Cambiasso. I mean, to expect the same because Cambiasso does a lot, and he actually shocked us all with how good he is and how important he became to the team in such a short time. But Caviglia going back to face his old club, let's call it that way. So he kind of knows the stadium. I don't think the pressure will be on him, and he has impressed us in the matches that he did play. So yeah, I'm having guys like everyone on Yildiz. Basically, I expect Dushan to bag a goal today. Um, but things are going well. I will say something that I know a lot wouldn't agree, but I'm not that high on the Kostic hate train. I feel he gets a lot of hate recently, and I don't think it's that deserved. Yeah, he could do more. Yeah, he can contribute more in attack. But I mean, we had worse players, starting every game. I don't think he's an issue that needs to be fixed right now at Juve. What do you feel? Because I see a lot of hate for him
There's a
every
ton
day.
of hate for him. I always agree, and I have agreed even in the last pod. I said Illing Jr. for me came into a game that Coppa Italia. I agree with you. It's not the be all end all to shut down on a guy. However, he didn't show me anything that makes me say we have to put him over Kostic or Cambiaso. Like, it's just he's not there. I get the minutes that he played last season. I still say he should be getting more minutes than he has gotten this season, but he's definitely not ahead of Kostic. Whether he can bring more or whatnot, in Kostic being one dimensional, that one dimension works. It's working for us right now because it's stability. And in most clubs, you will see one flank that is predominantly the attacking flank versus one that's more stay at home. It's working. Illing for me didn't show me anything that says he needs to start ahead of Kostic. There was a point, but there is a point to be made about Kostic not playing all the time, and because of how hard he goes, his some games he does look fatigued, even in a one game a week scenario. And that's why I said, you know what? Give him a match off, and that's where Illing can get his minutes, whatnot. But Kostic gets a lot of hate, does a lot of dirty work. He is one dimensional, I'll give you that. But for me,
Yeah,
I
there's a
I can't say he's
mismatch.
above.
There's a mismatch there when Chiesa plays because he tends to drift wide and Kostic doesn't go to the center as much as Cambiaso does or even Wea. But maybe with Ildiz, who does tend to stay centrally more than go to the flank, maybe it'll work out better. But I don't feel like he's hurting the team. Like we
He's
said about Sandro,
Yeah, I
really
don't
hurt
think
the
he's
team when
hurting
he's
us.
on.
No,
It could be
no.
better. I mean, the idea, what I would like to see is Wea on the right and Cambiasa on the left, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I don't feel like it is, at least
Yeah,
for me.
and even in saying that, Weah's got to bring much more to be on that 1A list for me. Because
Yeah,
McKenny, this is where it gets interesting. McKenny has had a say to where he's got to be in the lineup, I feel. I feel like he's earned that this year. So he's got to
yeah,
be in the lineup, and it might also be at right wing back because if all our mids are there and rolling, if we keep it the same and we stay with the three base and we don't go advanced midfielder, then yeah, okay, you could keep McKenny there. But I'm still not the biggest fan of Rabiot and McKenny being 2/3 of our three midfielders. I'm still just not the biggest fan of it. It works, it's getting us by and everything, but I- I'm still going to push for that advanced midfielder and just trying it until we see it. But I'm fine with keeping things as it is. And like I said, at the bare minimum, Yildiz and Chiesa swapping each other out. Weah, though, Weah presents something interesting. But Cambiaso and McKenny kind of make it work on that right side, even if McKenny doesn't bring you that offensive flair, whatnot. He's kind of finding a way where Cambiaso can slot in centrally and find lanes to attack with, and McKenny then takes up the right wing back. They've almost interchanged in those two positions when they play the right side together, and it's interesting to watch. So, like I said, Max has options now based on what these guys are doing and them performing. He's got options, and that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing for us. And
yeah.
maybe our depth isn't as bad as some made it out to be. How do you feel about that statement? Because some fans have been saying maybe our depth's not that bad.
It's
I
not that
think in the
bad. I mean,
midfield is probably where it is, but that's it.
it's not that bad. I think we got thrown into a situation that no one expected, with both Pogba and Fajoli being out for the rest of the season, and Max kind of had to, deal with the cards he was dealt with. So yeah, I mean, whoever comes in for McKenny needs to work as hard as him, because McKenny is putting, 200% every match, even if he's not contributing to the goals. And he's still working very hard in the press and tracking back. And that's what Max asked him to do. And that's what Max kind of likes. That's what every manager likes. Two players like Rabiot and McKenny who work tirelessly no matter how much they play. If it's the 90th minute, they never seem to get tired, and I would like players like that. Yeah, we can improve on that. We can have better options, but I'm kind of surprised with how good our backups have been this season.
Yeah, I would say I would agree. as well. Would it be possible to give Rabiot a contract extension and sell him? Get some money for him. I mean, it's possible. It's possible for sure. I don't know where things stand as far as other teams and that number for his salary and everything and how much interest was in fact there. Like, I felt this last season when we extended him in the summer. I felt like the other offers weren't what Rabiot expected or what he thought and whatnot. Like, I get that you see you hear oh, I decided to stay here. I love to stay here. Yet we start to see some rumors popping up that he wants to keep it at 1 year moving forward. So it's like, I don't know. Is he also thinking about something else and whatnot? It's kind of a weird one with Adrian Rabiot, but is that potential there? Sure, it's there, but right now with what Rabiot's bringing, I don't think Juve's even thinking about that, to be honest. I think Juve's looking to lock him down because it seems he has found his game and he's done it under Max Allegri, and there you go. But always be wary of Mama Rabiot. Always be wary of Mama Rabiot. But Omer, what do you think? How do you feel about the Rabiot situation? Maybe another 1 year. What are your thoughts on it? Hey, you're muted.
Sorry, I don't see Juve doing that type of move. It doesn't feel like a Juve thing to extend someone and intentionally sell him. It might happen if it comes from Rabiot's side that he wants to move on. Then Juve might ask him, yes, so let's extend by 1 year and then we can sell you for some profit. But I know I don't feel I don't trust the 1 year extensions. Year after I get what they did last summer and they wanted to keep him and he had offers, but we can't do that continuously. I mean, 2 3 years and I feel a bit more safe.
Yeah.
Um,
I think you're going to have a
I don't
hell
know
of a
what to make of
time
it.
trying to sign a guy on a multi-year if your game plan is to then sell him when he's becoming a free agent this summer. Like, it just doesn't make sense from the player and representation standpoint because the rep can get more being a free agent. So it's like, and Mama Rabiot's gonna know that. So it's an interesting one. Alex saying, you know what? It's time for Rabiot, to be honest. Either long term or let him go. So an interesting scenario that I brought up when this news
I
came up
agree
that
with
he,
Alex here. I
what's
agree
that?
with him. I agree with Alex here. Yeah, we should get more clarity from Rabiot on what his plans are, but maybe it will happen, closer to the end of the season.
Yeah, like I said, you're not going to sign a guy on a 2 year, on a 1 year, and then try to move him. It's just nobody's going to do that. He's on a contract year yet again. Maybe the whole time Rabiot just understands that he plays well on contract years and wants to keep it that way for the rest of his career. Who knows? But the thing is, when it comes to Rabiot, I said what's going to be interesting is that Mama Rabiot is going to want to take it easy because if I'm if I'm there, okay, if I'm in those chairs and the opportunity presents itself for, say, a Tony Cruz on a 2 year, and I can't do it if I'm tied to Rabiot's wage, I might be inclined based on other situations, like if Caviglia progresses, if Weston McKennie keeps his form throughout this season, what I might be inclined to put that money there and say, okay, man, we're done. We wanted long term. You're not willing to do it. That salary could be used for a guy that is world class for sure, and we could still get a couple years out of there. What do you think? Like, he might kind of present that scenario. I would rather put the money on that. What do you think?
Uh, I need to think about it. Um, yeah, so you're saying like sell him, try to sell him, and then use the money to bring someone
No,
new, or either
no. I'm
so.
saying he's on 7 million salary right now, which is a healthy salary. The difference is if they keep pushing for just 1 year and say you're coming later on in the year, but things arrive, and then all of a sudden Tony Cruz is a potential or a player like that has a higher salary. Rather than tying 1 more year down to Rabiot, you had the option to bring in Cruz for 2, and obviously you can't do it while still tying Rabiot's salary to him. Would you say bye bye Rabiot and bring in Cruz?
No, no, for a simple reason that Cruz, I mean, he is nearing the end of his career, and
33
Rabiot is
years
like at
old.
his yeah, and Rabiot is at his peak, so it doesn't feel like a fair deal to Juve. I don't think Juve are winning in this situation. So no, I would actually keep Rabiot. And to be fair, I mean, he hasn't made it. I mean, his mother didn't make us, feel bad. She wasn't like disrespectful towards Juve, and by any means. I think they will be upfront with the team and tell them what they want to do. It's just Juve don't like doing that type of stuff mid-season. So yeah, if it's one way or the other, I wouldn't do that deal. Only add Cruz, but Rabiot is kind of a backbone now to this midfield and to this team, and one of the leaders. Yeah, he's turned things around. He turned opinions around. Even Lou is like, he's already on the Rabiot train. That's something I never thought would happen. I was ready to sell him for whatever. But right now, if we can bring Cruz in, that's amazing. If it's Rabiot leaving, Cruz coming in, I don't think it's a fair deal.
Interesting. Interesting. I think Cruz is like a type of player we've been fucking begging
I
for.
I would
My
love
favorite,
Cruz.
my favorite option would be this: getting a way to get both and selling some guys and
Yeah.
finding a way. But Cruz's salary is gonna be it's going to be hefty. So I just don't see it. I mean, but Pogba's salary, that's an interesting one. We had that on the books. We've been paying him 42K this entire time. Next month, everybody, it's going to finally go to court. Hopefully get that ruling and hopefully wipe that off the slate. But man, I tell you, Cruz, oh, if there was a way, I'd absolutely
Oh,
love it.
I love
Rabiot
Cruz. I
and
just want to
Cruz,
add him. Yeah, I want
oh,
to add him to Rabiot because I don't think they're the same type of player to just swap
yeah,
places and everything will be the same or even better. But together, if we can
yeah.
add Cruz, phenomenal.
And reminder, while this thing has been going down with Pogba, we have not been paying him his full salary, all right? So that money has been banked as well. He's been getting like the bare minimum 42K, I believe. So it's like, yeah, it's a good scenario. But I don't know. Cruz on a free and paying his salary 33, 34. This guy's clearly still got a couple solid years for him. I'm not that worried with that. Gives you a little bit of time. And guys like Fagioli to groom still. You still got Cavili around. Like, I'm sorry. I'd take that all day. His age doesn't concern me with a player of that caliber. That's just me. But let's get into the match. Okay, back to Salernitana, back to what's going on. We talked about our players, guys we're going to keep eyes on, and then it kind of spiraled into this, all right? But it's time for the prediction challenge. Then we're going to do Storm the Barn, all right? So, prediction challenge. You guys know it. A bunch of you dropped your predictions earlier. Got way too excited, okay? Jumping the gun. It's okay. It's all good. Final score, 2 tiebreakers. Salernitana, Juventus, Omer, kick us off, my friend. And I know that Abby in the comments said earlier he wanted to set predictions at the same time because every time you guys share an opinion on what the prediction's going to be, it apparently plays out. So here you go. And he's gone a little exaggerated today. Let's see if you guys were on the same
Ah,
page.
so Abby, that's I swear that's exactly what I was going to say. I
You're
don't think Juve
kidding
can
me.
concede today. Yeah, I was like on the fence with 2-0 or 3-0. But I think I want to guess it will be three. I think we're still in their heads after that heavy defeat, and that'll play well for Juve. And so yeah, why not? Let's go with Abby. 3-0. Juve don't concede today. And goal scorers. Let's say Yildiz gets one and keeps his form going. Dushan. And yeah, Wea. Maybe Wea gets his first in the league this season. Oh no, no. Let's leave way out of this. I'm guessing one defender will get one today. Maybe Bremer hasn't scored in a while.
All right. All right. I'm going to go. Does Salernitana break us down for a goal? I don't see them getting more than one if they score at all. But I'm going to actually say, we keep the clean sheet today. As far as the offense and getting the goals, 2-0, 3-0. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I was going to go maybe 2-1 or 3-1. I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to go with 2-0. I'm going to say that we get one in each half. So Juve up 1-0 first half, 2-0 final. And I'm going to say that another tiebreaker. We get one goal definitely comes from one of our midfielders. And I don't know if I'm going to call a Big Mac goal. He's kind of, you know what? He's deserved one. Yeah, I'm going to say McKennie gets one of the goals too. So one
Hopefully.
goal each half, 2-0, and McKennie finds a way to get on the score sheet. All right, so that's what I'm going with. There you
I
go.
would actually really like to see
Repeat
a free
6-1.
kick goal today. I
What's
would really
that?
like to see a. I would really like to see a free kick goal today. It's been a while since we've seen one.
I was almost going to call one, but then I started looking and I'm like, man, Vlahovic probably take it, but man, those were the days when we were just bagging those. Like, Pjanic's rate was ridiculous. Dybala's rate was ridiculous. Like,
Not even
it
talking
was
about
awesome.
Pirlo, Del Piero, those
Oh yeah,
guys. I
you went
mean,
from ADP, Pirlo. It was something special. But hey, we'll see. Got to get back there. Got to get back there. So we're all positive about this. Get the Storm the Barn questions in, everybody. Okay, we got a healthy amount of time. Look at the predictions coming in. So we had 2-0. Rabiot, Duchan, 3-1 win, 2-1 win. If Gatti is sane, 2-0. You got another 6-1 loading. You've got 3-1 Juve. Vlahovic, Yildiz, Rabiot goal scores. Candreva for Salernitana wouldn't be surprised. And 4 yellow cards total? Oh, a little bit low. Might be a little more chippy. You would think Salernitana's got to get a little more chippy if they want to stand a chance here. But Dusan and Yildiz starting up front is what is projected. Guys, again, reminder, like the video. Let's get those likes up, okay? Do that if you haven't done so. Last reminder, it is last call for 20% off everything in the merch store. Some great new ones. The AJC stuff, a great new Del Piero artwork design. And then you've got the Cortomuso stuff for the Allegrianis out there, all right? So a lot of good stuff. Check it out. Thank you to all those who have chosen to support in that way. Thank you for everyone with memberships, okay? Justin was in here the other day, gifted another membership out there to a lucky subscriber. And reminder, 3 retro replica kits being given away. Details coming out this week, okay? So again, pays to subscribe. Thanks for all your support. Keep liking the video, subscribe, and obviously share the content. All right, everybody. Omer, before we kick off Storm the Barn, do you have a question out there?
oh, I had a good one. I need to start writing them down. It
You
happens
need to
to me
start
every
writing them
time.
down.
Yeah, I had a good one. Okay, just an update. Torino just scored against Napoli, so it's 1-0 Torino. And
Nice. The
have a shot.
dynasty struggling.
Yeah, yeah. So a question. Okay, we'll get back to it if it pops up again. It's something that came from the news today, so I'll run through our news and let's see if it pops up again. Buongiorno, Keane, probably not probably, but might leave on a loan. Calvin Phillips is out. Oh, Calciopoli is finally over. You will have to pay both FIGC and Inter for their, I don't know, whatever, paying their lawyers and stuff. I'm actually happy it's finally over. I mean, it's in the past. It's almost 20 years ago. Just need to let it rest and move forward.
It's
And I,
actually, it's nice you brought that up. It's nice you brought that up. Yet again, we just keep getting lambasted by these yips, these chihuahuas, these clowns. And it happened again this week. And the response from our main was spot fucking on, okay? because they said it again in talking about cheating when obviously the reports came from Cannavaro, regardless of what anybody feels about Cannavaro and what happened in '06 and him leaving and all that. Regardless, what he said was spot on. That no, for me, we won those. We were not beaten on the pitch, and everybody knows what went down in '06. Okay, everybody knows. There was no matches that were fixed, and that was proven. Officials spoke with representation from the league trying to get referees that weren't fucking brutal on them, okay? And everybody did that. How convenient that the Telecom Italia boss at the time was on Inter's board and their taps, which is how they found out about all this, went missing. How convenient that when they finally were found, it was past the time frame to actually do anything about it, but no matches were fixed. But yet again, these uneducated fools, okay, that don't even know the history behind it, continue to pipe up about cheating. Rubentis, all this. Well, it's very simple as this, the response that came from our main, okay? Cheating is something losers used as an excuse to feel better about themselves, because losers have that fear about challenging themselves and still failing. Ultimately, everybody knows what happened. I just laid it out for the phone taps and who was involved. It was the biggest conflict of interest you could ever imagine. But what ultimately happened is they found out they couldn't beat us on the pitch, and they couldn't even fucking do it outside of the pitch because we came back and then we had a decade of dominance, all right? You can never, ever kill Juventus, and the Rubentis shit, the cheating, shut it down immediately every fucking time you see it, everybody, because it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And the people that pipe up about it, honestly, have no fucking clue about the history that their own team was involved in. And that's what makes it the absolute funniest part about it all. But shut him down at every will. And that response from the main, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's an excuse for losers. Omer?
Yeah, I wish that, this thing will just die out in the past and just move forward. I feel like we got a revenge on the pitch. 10 years where we slapped them every season, left, right, and center, and they were out of Champions League. They were taking beatings from us. That was our personal win against them. But still, it's like 20 years ago. Gotta let it go. Bravo to the main account of Juve, who had a perfect response, and let this thing die out and just move forward. We got our revenge. I mean, it doesn't even matter anymore. The consequence of the trial. We know what happened, and always blaming every time something you lose to Juve, going out with, yeah, they're cheaters, they're this and that. I mean, grow up. Grow up. That's just
The Timu
what
trophy.
children say. Yeah, I mean, that's just so childish to keep saying, yeah, they cheated this, they cheated that. I mean, fuck you. Let's just move on. At this
Fuck you is
point,
right. Fuck them. Fuck them.
yeah, at this point, it's more you. It's more you than us. We have stopped bringing it up, and we're not talking about it. It's you keep pumping it up. Yeah, remember what happened in '06, and keep asking former players what they think happened. They ask Zlatan, Cannavaro, whoever. I mean, it's more in your head than it's in ours. We have moved on. We
That's the
as
best
fans.
part, is that they still just go off about that when in actuality they just couldn't win, and it was never proven. All this cheating crap, that's not even what it was about, and they still don't know that. I love it. I love it. And this is the best right here from Alex. Roma's freaking bonsai tree is more legit than those Merita trophies they're handed there. Absolutely love it. The Cartonati, they'll always be that for me. But the ones that, because there are Inter fans I converse with quite a bit that actually don't bring it up, that don't talk about it, that are absolutely fine, and I have no problems with that. But the ones that keep pushing this narrative about Calciopoli and all that, and there's big accounts out there, guys that know better, that still do that, and that's what pisses me off the most. And those guys know who they are. But it's just a big joke for me, and I I get it. It's been so far gone, but I won't let it go when I hear about it and they bring it up. I will continue to slam it and slap it in their face because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. But
I mean,
I
even
also
the
heard
verdict
that
wouldn't
it's.
change
I
anything.
also heard that this isn't Juve paying FIGC or Inter. I heard it was a separate suit from Calciopoli that it was Moji brought on to pay.
Yeah, I saw that too. Still, all of this stuff comes from newspapers, so I don't know what to exactly believe and what's credible or not. But either way, I mean, it's small amounts. Moji pays it, and yeah, just move
Yeah.
on. I mean, even if the verdict comes out in our favor and not in our favor, it wouldn't change anything. Basically, I mean, we hated them before and would still hate them now. Doesn't really matter. They hate us, and they will keep saying cheaters, non-cheaters, no matter what comes out of that verdict. So just let it die.
Yeah, it's just yeah, it's one of those frustrating things, but the most frustrating thing about it is like I said, not acknowledging what actually went down. That's the part that pisses me off the most cuz we all know, and to be honest, a lot of them know too. But, you know, they like to poke the bear. Well, poke the bear you did. Right now, who's scared though? Who's scared right now? Tell your players to stop showing that fear because you guys sound scared. Not us. We're having a great time. We're playing with free money. Omer, you got something? You put the gun up and you're muted.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Dave from around Turin was here earlier, and he mentioned that Juventus women are playing the Super Cup against Roma. So if anyone is interested, log into that. Maybe we'll have another trophy for the women's team.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you can log into that. Again, we still got time for Storm the Barn. 8 minutes. You guys, fire away if you got any questions. I got to remind you all, too. Yeah, there's a watch along happening today. So you guys know exactly where to be. I'll be on probably around 20 minutes to kick off. All right, calling the action. I hope to see you all there. And let's have some fun with this one. Hopefully, again, this one has to be a victory. We can't be thinking about anything else. So let's go with that. But has to be a victory the rest of the way in this month of January. And yeah, so the status update on that match with the women is 1-1 and close to halftime. So, um,
Sorry, I said around Turin, Turin Giants. Dave from Turin Giants.
yeah, it's all good. Omer, question. You
Yeah.
had something else besides Calciopoli?
No, let's move on to the live chat questions. Storm the
Okay,
barn.
so I know there was one further up. I'm trying to track it down, but the chat's kind of shut down because there was so much coming in here, especially calling out Inter with their cardboard and whatnot. But I also did have one. So we had era battles come up, and it was interesting because the first one that came up on our era battles one that I'm looking to do cool shorts, guys, things that you guys have kind of requested. We see the kits, underrated kits, everything like that. And we get going with this. And the first one that was up was Edgar Davids and Claudio Marchisio. And for me, I said, like, I'm going with Edgar Davids every time. I absolutely love Claudio Marchisio. But for me, Davids was a complete, like, total package in the midfield. An absolute bull. And a Juventino fought me on it saying, no, Claudio by a mile. Way better technically and whatnot. And I said, I don't think you're respecting Edgar David's technical ability. But it's everything else outside of technical ability that I just, as much as I love Claudio Marchisio, I'm going with Edgar Davids. And honorable mention in my all-time 11, I have Edgar Davids in there and sit a massive midfielder because of two other guys I have to personally put in. Okay. But Davids for me, Omer.
Okay, that's actually a really tough one. I think I'd go with Davids. I don't feel like they're kind of exactly the same player. Like I can integrate both of them in the same team. But if we're going head to head, yeah, probably Davids. I mean, he was a beast. He was a massive beast. and he embodied everything that Juve has. Marchisio is just uh, okay. I really liked Marchisio, but I really started loving him after he left Juve, and suddenly we started seeing some other midfielders, and I thought he could be replaced not easily, but without a lot of fuss. And turns out he didn't. Then I saw all his tweets and stuff he posted on Instagram, and he really became a favorite of mine after he left Juve. But out of that midfield, he was, let's say, my least favorite. I love them all, but he was my least favorite one. And so yeah, David's
Yeah.
all day because I adored him when he was playing at Juve. He was one of my favorites of that
Yeah.
era.
Absolutely. Stream on Twitch? No, no, nothing on Twitch. It'll be right here on YouTube for the watch along. All right, so right here, and yeah, look, everybody's kind of on the same going with Davids here, and as much as we all, Ryan, as much as we all love Il Principino, but to each their own, and that's the beauty of these, and that we're having out there is that we find those that say Claudio Marchisio, and I absolutely have no problems with it. Okay, I've got another one on deck that's probably going to come out tomorrow, and this one I actually struggled with. I'm not going to put any spoilers on one, but this one I struggled with. Some might say it shouldn't be as close as it was, but it was a tough one for me because I loved both of these guys. All right, so again, be very very cool and check that one out. Probably dropping tomorrow. Now we do have Storm the Barn coming in here. If you have to choose between getting McKennie and Weah getting playing time, who do you got? So I assume we're talking about the right wing back role, and if you have to choose between McKennie and Weah getting playing time, who do you have? Oh man, I said this earlier. I just feel like McKennie can't really be denied on the starting 11. Like he just got to be out there, whether it's in the central or even at right wing back. I just feel like he's got to be out there. I feel like if we're thinking about not playing him, it's because Cambiaso takes up the right, Kostic on the left, but I kind of feel bad with McKennie not being out there because I feel he's earned it and deserved it. That's kind of how I feel. It's a tough one. But Omer, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like Wea is more like wishful thinking for me. I wish he'd be as good as I want, as good as I expect him to be. But up until this point in the season, it's 100% McKennie. I mean, what has he done to not justify a starting role? I mean, if we're doing McKennie Cambiaso, that's where I have a problem choosing. But McKennie Wea, yeah, definitely McKennie now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the route I'm going. I don't think he could be denied right now. And I feel bad for Whale. Like, I think we got to find a way to get Whale rolling, though. Like, I feel like there's so much there untapped. And I think the preseason showed us what he could do. It just hasn't translated. But, positive thing in the last game for him. So let's see what happens. Storm the Barn from Matty Mesh. Since we are at the halfway point of the season, who are your top 3 best performers? Omer, top 3.
Okay, so easily Bremer, um, definitely. Let's go with one from each department. Let's go with defense, attack, and midfield. So Bremer, um, maybe McKennie for just the surprise factor, because we have talked about Rabiot actually underperforming from last season. So I would give it to McKennie because he surprised us all. And attacking wise, I think it should be Chiesa. I mean, he has been electrifying when he did play. The numbers might not suggest it, but still, when he's on the pitch, it feels different,
Yeah.
and it feels different the way other teams approach us. So let's go with these three: Bremer, McKennie, and Chiesa, and a shout out to Cambiaso.
My 3 are Bremer, Rabiot, and Weston. Those are my 3 top performers for Juventus at the halfway point. Yeah, I just think the Cambiaso shout, I could see it for sure, for sure. In terms of the forwards, big drought there. But yeah, it'd have to be Chiesa out of the forwards, I would say. Yildiz going to make a statement for the second half. Maybe. Let's see what happens today. We got one coming in here from Tony Trim. We all thought this would be a quiet mercado with no players being brought in besides Giallo. Is there anyone else you would like Juve to add, and at what position? So, and I'm assuming we're talking still about, obviously, not like fantasy land, but realistically, if there's a player out there you would like to see Juve add, and at what position?
Not fantasy. Yeah, I would still like to have like a left wing back, someone that can do what Kostic does defensively and physique wise, but someone who adds more to the attack. I had to think of a name. I mean, Grimaldo was the obvious choice, but that's gone now. I have to think of someone, but the rest I'm kind of okay with. Um, yeah, I have to think of someone.
I still say, for me, it's the same thing. If I make a change or if I bring a player in, like we talked about earlier, I'm fine with us staying with who we have. But if it's an advanced, attack-minded midfielder, that's who I bring in. If there's a Sudakov, a Samardzic available to us, that's the only thing I think realistically that's out there that actually does push the needle for us. Everything else I really think is status quo based on everything else that our players are delivering and the fact that we're in one competition, with a Coppa Italia tournament on the side. That's the only thing for me. So I remain the same as I was before, to be honest. That's it for me. But we'll see. Forza Juve. Favorite player of the current squad? Ooh.
Still Chiesa.
I gotta say,
I'm a huge fan of defenders, so I really love Bremer, especially this season. But still, Chiesa tops that list for me.
yeah, my favorite player on the current squad is, oh man, it'd probably still have to be Chiesa. I don't think anybody's he was my favorite player previously. It kind of still is. Nobody's really surpassed him. Probably him. Bremer's a great shout, though. I'm a huge Bremer fan. Massive fan of Bremer. And I do like Locatelli. And you know what's crazy is that I'm really starting to get behind Rabiot. Rabiot's he's becoming this guy that you can't help but just, I don't know, like not even really admire, but just root on, because he's just like, he's always there, man. He's always there. Like I said, I've given him some shit about consistency and whatnot, but that's because there are games where he's there, but he's capable of more, and it's going to be interesting to see. But Rabiot's moved up quite a bit for me, but I also still like I said, Locatelli, Rabiot, but Chiesa still probably my favorite on the team. So we'll see. Now, we've kind of gone a little bit overtime here, but we got time for one more, and it's Dave here at Turning Giants. Do Gatti's goals that he scores make up for the errors that cost us goals? So Alex P will be very familiar with what I've said as we got into a discussion over DMs there with the one giveaway in the Coppa Italia there. I have a little more tolerance probably for Gatti because of the fact that if I look at his road and his trajectory to get to where he is now, I expect way more polishing to happen with him than I do the other guys. But I just think, like I said, I still stand behind there's a hell of a player there if we can get him polished up. You can't like just turn away the mistakes. You can't turn a blind eye to it. There's mistakes there. There's costly ones. But in the grand scheme of things, I think you just got to ask, do the positives outweigh those negatives? And I think overall, his whole body of work, I think the positives do show up more. That's just me personally. Omer?
Yeah, okay. He won us 6 points. He has 3 goals, one against Torino. Always nice to score against city rivals. But he won against Monza and he won against Napoli, two teams we couldn't beat in the league last season. And so that's 6 points, keeping us in the loop and in second place. His mistakes, I mean, they weren't that costly in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, I feel he's evolving. Expect him to not make any mistakes. I mean, that's just, it's not going to happen. He will make mistakes. Everyone will make mistakes. And that's the defender's bread and butter. And so, yeah, I think he's been more, better for Juve than he has been, caused us troubles.
Yeah, I
And
think
the
overall,
alternative was Sandro, so yeah.
yeah, I think overall it's been more positive than it has negative with him. But again, I expect more polishing. If we can get him polished up, I think look out. That's a hell of a player you could have there if he can polish up these errors and these brain farts. I made the joke about the giveaway to Salernitana, saying fuck, he probably still had the steel toes on from when he was bricklaying and
Yeah.
made that error. But we'll see what happens. I still have no real concerns with Federico Gatti. I have said though, at the back line, I do feel Rugani should be seeing more minutes. I have no problem
Yeah.
seeing Danilo on his more favorable right side with Bremer and Rugani on the left side. I have no problem seeing that. But I don't want to see it all the time to the point where we don't get Gatti those minutes and we don't get him polished up, because this is a perfect season for him to go through and get that polishing. So see what happens. Do
Yeah,
you
he's
think
24.
Perin should start more?
Yes.
Too bad Anth wasn't in here for this one, because you guys in this constant battle. So Omer, go ahead, elaborate.
No, it's more of a, like a fun thing because I was hard on Tech last season. I think he made a lot of errors that cost us matches, but I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper. Um, it kind of feels like the same, but Perrin is younger. It's, having a goalkeeper like that on your roster. I mean, that's as a second goalkeeper, that's great. But yeah, he should play more just to get the consistency going. Um, but yeah, Tech is number one at the moment.
Yeah, I keep saying this, like I don't have any real problems with it, to be honest. I feel bad for Perin though. First start, Coppa Italia and Gatti with that giveaway and there's nothing you could do. It's like,
Yeah, I can't
really?
blame him for that.
I know it's got to be a clean sheet game, but it's just so shitty for Perin that that's literally the first shot he faces in that game, and it's like nothing he can do about it. Oh man, all he could do is laugh, and luckily the team responded. But Perin, it is what it is. I mean, there's no reason to swap Tech out. You could have made the argument at the start with what he had, that maybe you mix it up more and get him going in it. The fact that we remain strong with Tech and he's turned it around, he's been solid ever since. I can't think of any blunders since that brutal showing. Maybe some questionable ones you'd want him to do a little bit better on, but ultimately he's been big. He's definitely helped us get some points in games.
That's new. Because
Yeah,
my biggest criticism was that when you need your goalkeeper to win you matches by a fantastic save, which Buffon used to do all the time, that's where he lacks. So, but he has provided points for Juve this season with great saves. So, kind of, tick that box and move forward. But yeah, he has improved this season from the
yeah,
past couple of seasons.
absolutely. And we get questions coming in, RB comps. What time is the watch along starting? And Soiree, will there be a watch along? Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I struggle with the midweek ones, all right, with work and everything, but weekends, no doubt about it. 20 minutes before kickoff, I'll be live right here, everybody. So, yeah, Tech, you're right. That was one of your biggest criticisms, but he has been doing that and making the big saves and keeping us where we need to be in games. So today, hopefully he's got very little work to do today, and hopefully we keep the streak going and we get going, all right? So again, let's keep it rolling. 20 minutes before kickoff, I hope to see you all back here for the watch along, all right? We're going to have a ton of fun on there. Swarit's ready to go. Can't wait to see you in there, brother, all right? Like the video, again, subscribe to the channel, share the content with your friends, and let's keep growing the community. 3 retro kits being given away. Later on today, we draw the winning official fan club out of North America, okay? If you're even outside North America, great fan clubs all across the world. JCD, Melbourne, Gigi Buffon that supports us. We get love from Max. He represents the Serbian fan club out there. There's a million like great ones, okay, you guys? Find a local fan club and join up. The watch parties are epic, and there's a ton of perks that go along with that, okay? They always bring you closer to the team. Can't wait to see who wins that autograph kit. And then we got the 3 retro ones coming up later that week. You guys know it. Forza Juve. James, part of the official fan club Vancouver. That is my official fan club as well. And then Tony Trim going to go hang out with the crew in Toronto. All right. Enjoy, fellas. Everybody else, enjoy. I hope to see you back 20 minutes before kickoff. Omer, always a pleasure. Let's get out there. And as the header reads, time to spank Salernitana again. All right, everybody. As always, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.
Yeah.